So, I wanted to talk about the four different streams of consciousness that I've kind of noticed throughout this journey of becoming aware, because I wasn't always conscious. I wasn't always reading books that taught me the importance of being conscious and whatnot. But I'm here now, so here we go. So, first stream of consciousness usually is what's popularly known as Black Twitter. Now, Black Twitter is what you see every time you get on the timeline. The Jamila Lemieux, what is the other one? Jamila Lemieux, Feminista Jones, Talib Kweli. It's like a group of feminists. Well, it's DeRay McKesson or McKesson. I don't really know how to say his name properly. I forget. Netta, I guess her name. Sean King, who I like. I like Sean King. Sean King is he went awry, but I'm giving you names so you can kind of understand. It's really centered around Black Lives Matter. The group who formed Black Lives Matter, a lot of homosexuals such as lesbians and gays, transgenders, black feminists, as I said, social justice warriors, which include those who are non-black, such as Asians, Latinos, Latinas, any other group or any other race that decides that they want to be a social justice warrior and support blacks. This is the part of the first group. Okay, and I'll break down the other ones. I'm just trying to make it fast because the first video I did was too long. It was rambling too much. Second group of consciousness is, which I would call the Hoteps. And the Hoteps are people who believe in these ancient African hierarchies, and they study history. They read about ancient Kemet generals such as Hannibal Barca. Hannibal Barca was this great warrior. A lot of war strategies are based on strategies that Hannibal Barca used. These are people who really don't believe in white supremacy. These are blacks who believe that blacks are genetically superior to those who are non-black, and they believe that white people are inferior. They are the true superior. They don't need white people for anything. They're about self-reliability, responsibility, and they're more like, hey, I don't want to sit at the table. I'm not about integration. Blacks need to go their way. Whites need to go their way. And blacks need to do this and boycott that and spend our money there and spend our money here. We're going to boycott this thing, whatever. So I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of Hoteps, or brothers who are so, I got the dashiki on, or I have the Kemetic Ankh on around my neck, or whatever. But these guys are typically ran by a group of men or a couple group of men who are kind of like pastors, and they are in alliance with the alt-right. Yes, the racist ass alt-right. Some of the Hoteps are, I guess, some of the main Hoteps are aligned with the alt-right. Not all of them, and because the Hoteps don't believe in white supremacy, and the alt-right, they believe in white supremacy, but it's more of a let's separate from blacks, and the Hoteps are more like let's separate with whites. So they share similar ideologies in a weird way. It's like enemies that determine that they want to become friends. You study history, the KKK had once met up with the Nation of Islam, and they kind of had this meeting, or as far as, hey, the whites are going to stay over here, the blacks are going to stay over there. They kind of had a mutual dislike for each other, so much that it was actually an admiration, and it was a secret meeting that was held that never kind of got put out to the public, and they shook hands, and that was that. So this was sometime back in the 50s, so this has to be like 60 years ago when this went down. I'm assuming not too many of us was born. Maybe some of my listeners were. That's neither here nor there, but okay, you get my point. I digress. So it's similar to that. So those are your Hoteps. The third category that you have is what I consider myself in, which is consciousness, awareness. People who revere authors such as Neely Fuller Jr., people such as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Joy DeGroy, my legend, Dr. Claude Anderson. Another guy is what's his name? It's not Michael Eric Dyson. He's part of Black Twitter. This guy's a genius, man. He's such a genius. Dr. Cornel West. He's a free thinker. These are people who wouldn't be afraid to call out Obama during this presidency, because a lot of Black Twitter, they're pro-Obama. A lot of Hoteps are kind of not, non-Obama, because they're more conservative. And a lot of conscious people are kind of like, hey, it was a great thing. Yes, I probably voted for Obama, but as far as what he did for blacks, it kind of was like, he didn't really do nothing for him. So that's kind of like the third group. And this type of ideology is more, not too much foreign from Hotep, but different in the sense that everything is black first. Everything is black first. Like no matter what, it's all about the black family and keeping the black family together. None of that gender war crap. None of that, well, black men are better than black women, or black women are better than black men. None of that gender war stuff, because ultimately you know that there's no progress without your structure, the roots of the tree, which is the black family, which is a mother and a father, and raising your seeds, having your seeds, and building that family. Trying to have some ownership, trying to put your kids in situations where they become owners and not just workers. That's the type of ideology that I have, to become owners of their own destiny. right? I mean, I don't want my daughter getting a uniform and working for somebody else if she doesn't have an ulterior motive of getting her own business and doing her own thing as far as business. So that's the ideology that most people where I come from, and a lot of women who share this ideology are called pick-me's. They're called pick-me's on Twitter because a lot of Black Twitter, they don't like some of the things that women who are free thinkers say. So, it's very complicated, but I made this video because the stream of consciousness has become some kind of place of, it's like church now. Everything's been segregated, and we now have denominations of consciousness. As I said, woke has become a word that is so watered down. It's almost like saying bling. You're saying bling bling or something. Everybody's using the word woke. Woke doesn't mean anything. It's too trendy now. You got Kylie Jenner doing Pepsi commercials. That's where we're at right now. It doesn't mean anything. I believe you got politicians saying it. You got non-blacks capitalizing off the word, making t-shirts saying stay woke. It's just not. And you had the popularity of Get Out. It's sleazy at this point. The word really doesn't mean anything without any actions behind it. So it's sort of disgusting. But everybody that is Black is struggling to figure out what is the right concept of progress. See, if you talk to Black Twitter, their form of progress is integration, having a seat at the table, getting an award for Moonlight, getting an award for what is that? What was that movie with Offenses with Denzel Washington? That's like, wow, we're really making progress. Having a Black president, that's progress. That's real progress. Having more Black actors on television, that's progress. Forced integration, sort of what happened with the civil rights movement, just forced integration. Let's go to school with each other now. See, if you follow Dr. Claude Anderson, if you read his book, you see that's where Blacks went wrong. The whole forced integration logic that we are all one. No, we aren't all one. Okay, we have gotten to a point where we are mocking Rachel Dolezal for being transracial, but getting agitated and ready to fist fight because somebody says that Kendall Jenner is not a woman, or a transgender person is not a woman. Believe even the woman who is a Black feminist, she's a popular author, can't even pronounce her name, but it's an African name. She said that transgenders are not women. There was a lot of backlash, I guess you can call it backlash, that was on Twitter, from Black Twitter, that went in on her. And she says, hey, I'm sorry that people got offended, but I kind of meant what I said, and that's just what I believe. Sorry if you're offended by it. I didn't really mean to hurt nobody's feelings. So we live in a world where there's a lot of contradiction. we live in a world where, I mean, we don't have any structure. So that's their form of progress, okay? Having more different faces in the forefront of black power, not having black men in the front. So if black men aren't leading in the front, we need to have more black women. And let me tell you something. There is no person greater than Harriet Tubman. I've said this a while back before I had my channel. I was just doing podcasts on SoundCloud that Harriet Tubman to me is the greatest African American figure ever. What she had done was greater than what any billionaire, A.G. Gaston, I believe the gentleman who Don Cheadle's making a movie about. That what Harriet Tubman did was incredible. She hit the fuck it button and she was like, I'm out. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do with whatever I got. And she made some stuff happen. So to me, that was a true form of progress, what she was doing. I digress. So a Hotep, what a Hotep's form of progress would be, okay, let's stop going to these stores that manipulate and deceive black people. Let's stop putting money in their pockets. Let's stop drinking Coca-Cola. Let's stop drinking Pepsi. It's giving us diabetes anyway. It's killing us anyway. It's driving up obesity anyway. Let's stay away from all of these terrible companies, KFCs, and let's boycott these places since they're putting out Jerry Rice with a Popeye's chicken helmet. Let's boycott these places. They're only taking advantage of us anyway. Okay, so let's start building our own corporations. Let's start building our own businesses. Hell, let's form our own towns. And let's all move to that town, grow our own fruits, grow our own vegetables, create our own currency system, barter with each other. Let's deprogram from all of these media, whatever this television stuff is, and let's go back to being great at what we were. Great kings or whatever. So that's what a Hotep's, which we call it, would be. Boycotting, rebuilding, restructuring, separation, starting our own businesses, buying from each other, circulating that dollar, growing, self-responsibility, starting from the bottom, going through the tough parts, rebuilding, teaching our kids self-pride and things like that. But oftentimes they get mocked because they tend to be so in love with this idea of black superiority that it's almost like it's contradicting, because if you live in a system of white supremacy, whether you believe in it or not, it doesn't matter, because if they still control all areas of activity from any industry that you want to go to or any industry you want to choose, it's nothing you can do. Even basketball, you would say, oh man, well, you guys run basketball. Yeah, but we don't own anything. You may have Michael Jordan, but he's only one of 32 or 30 owners. 29 NBA teams. I'm not sure how many teams it is, but 30. Let's just say 30. It's only one of 29 or 30 teams. So, honestly, what do you? We don't. In NFL, it's a joke. Yes, we put up the stats. We're the faces of it. But who's making money in the background? It's always been like that in the music industry as well. You take people who literally came from nothing, and they make incredible music still to this day. You take guys who come from the streets, just the poorest of the poorest areas. They don't have nothing, and they create incredible music and become rap stars or become singers. This always has been our thing. We can literally have nothing and turn it into something. This has always been our thing. This is why Africans are different from the Europeans, because the way that we can have nothing and be happy. We can be in the worst conditions and be singing slavery song. Was it Negro spirituals or whatever? And we can be in the worst conditions and we'll make something. We'll turn it in. We'll turn a coal into diamond. Even if the diamond is raggedy and jagged, we'll treat that diamond like it's just as raggedy as it is. We'll treat it like it's just the most precious thing in the world. So that's become trendy. So the way that blacks overcome and shine is being appropriated. This is what we had with Miley Cyrus. So that's Hoteps. Hoteps tend to believe that, you know what? We need to separate. We need to rebuild. We need to do everything over again. So they tend to get mocked. Then the third group, which I consider myself in, which is, hey, we as a people need to wake up and realize that we all need to come together. We're all from the African diaspora. We need to start to support each other. We need to start supporting each other's businesses. We need to start teaching our kids, look, you don't have to be a basketball player or a rapper. You can go out here and actually own your own business. You don't have to do things the traditional way. You can go out here and become something. You don't have to be ashamed of being a dark-skinned child or being melanated. You come from a strong history of great legends, and there's a history behind it, and we believe in teaching our kids that history so that way they have that confidence when they grow older to know that, hey, I'm African American. There's nothing to be ashamed about. I shouldn't have to feel as if I have to switch up my personality and be a different way because I want to integrate or ingratiate myself with those in a dominant society and look down on my own people. So, we tend to be an emotional people, and I don't think that we agree on progress because everyone's view of progress is different. If you ask Black Twitter, they're going to say, oh, we need to take down capitalism, right? You ask a Hotep, he doesn't have any problem with capitalism. He's a conservative. You ask a person like me, who considers himself aware, there's nothing wrong with capitalism. there's nothing wrong with capitalism. See, where capitalism makes a U-turn or makes a wrong turn is when that money is used to fund laws to harm people who are non-white. That's when things become, it takes a wrong turn. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with communism, if you ask me. I mean, not communism, capitalism. But Black Twitter would say, oh no, our cure to capitalism is communism. When there's a lot of things in communism that doesn't address some of the same things that we already face. I mean, Angela Davis was one of those social justice warriors back in the 70s that decided she was going to join the Communist Party. And she realized, hey, it doesn't address racism. It doesn't address sexism. There's different things that still happen that aren't just the cause of money. Because, you know, power isn't evil. How you use the power is evil. So, we live in a society where there's so much divisiveness. Now, the Willie Lynch letter was completely false. It's completely made up. But in a sense, it's almost like a great fiction piece because it's so true as far as the divisiveness, that how we're so separated that, I mean, no white person or no white supremacist has to do anything because we disagree with each other enough. We have this tribal way of thinking, which is ingrained in us. We have this tribal way of thinking that, hey, I'm better than you. But you know, that's my thoughts on it. I just had a late night craving to just make a video. I'm like, man, let me make a video. I think we all can learn from each other one way or another, but we have to be open-minded. So many people nowadays getting caught up in that gender war that they're not really realizing that no matter what, we're all in a system of white supremacy. Nothing ever changes unless we realize that, hey, we live in a system that we're dominated and controlled, and not dominated and controlled like in a sense where you can't do anything about it. You can absolutely do something about it, but it's going to take us as a group to understand that and try to improve as a group. When I speak, I don't speak for myself. I speak for us as a group, and I think that's how we need to move. We need to start moving as a group. And that concludes my video. I'm out. Peace.